Welcome to episode 21 of Angela Watson's Truth for Teachers. I'm your host, Angela Watson, and I'm here to speak life, encouragement, and truth into the minds and hearts of educators and get you energized for the week ahead. Today, I'm going to share some thoughts on how to keep from giving up on apathetic students. Visit truthforteachers.com to get the transcript, links to recommended resources, and share your thoughts on the show. A big thank you to this episode's sponsor, GoNoodle. GoNoodle is a free website with interactive videos and games to help kids focus during the school day. I love GoNoodle because it makes it super easy for teachers to find the energizing or calming breaks that students need to stay engaged. Teachers can sign up for free. Go to gonoodle.com. Today's episode is part of the Ask Angela Anything format that you'll hear once a month or so here on the podcast. It's where listeners can submit questions they'd like for me to answer. You can submit your own question by going to truthforteachers.com. Scroll down to the middle of the page, and you'll see a SpeakPipe box where you can record a voice message, and a link to a form that you can submit if you'd prefer to write out your question. So the question that I'm answering today is a question from an anonymous 9th and 10th grade teacher. And she wrote this: Dear Angela, I frequently have students who are not motivated to learn. I actually get them in my class because I usually can have some success with them. But in the past 2 years, I feel like I'm helpless to change their apathetic attitudes and their lack of effort. Yes, I refuse to let them take my power away, but I constantly find myself trying to figure out how to reach them or get them to do anything. I catch myself thinking about my failure to reach these kids all the time. I even wake up thinking about them. What strategies can I use that allow me to not give up on these kids, but also to stop me from dwelling on these kids 24 hours a day? I feel like it's so much wasted energy, but I don't want to become one of those teachers who just lets the kids fail. Wow, that's deep. So I love what you said about refusing to let them take your power away. So let's start there. It's really essential to remember that you as the classroom teacher are the most influential person in the classroom. You are the one who creates the routines, you plan the activities, you choose how to respond to student behavior. You create the classroom climate. Your attitude is what makes the difference. So never give in to those moments when you feel powerless, like you can't do anything about students' attitudes. You have to choose to be the one who raises them up instead of letting them pull you down. You have that power. You can choose not to let a few teenagers' bad attitudes keep you from accomplishing what you set out to do, or to keep you from working towards your vision. Now, you can't control kids' attitudes, but you can influence how kids feel. And when kids feel better, they behave better. Pam Leo said, you can't make a child behave better by making them feel worse. I'm going to say that again. You can't make a child behave better by making them feel worse. So whenever you're tempted to nag or yell or shame apathetic students, remember that making them feel worse is not going to make them behave better. You can't embarrass kids into being motivated. And I'm sorry to say that I know this from firsthand experience. Somehow along the way, I got the idea that constantly threatening apathetic, unmotivated kids with the possibility of failing was going to somehow scare them straight. And it didn't work. Not in one instance. Sometimes they'd go through the motions for me for a half an hour, but making kids feel bad about their lack of effort did not create intrinsic motivation in anyone. Nagging and shaming seems like it might give a momentary release for us as teachers. But if we look more deeply, we can see how de-energizing it really is for us. No one wants to spend their whole day screaming at kids. If you don't do your homework, you're not going to pass. It's really hard to unwind and decompress after spending a full day berating children like that. You end up laying in bed at night and you're still fuming about how lazy students are being and how unfair it is that you're being evaluated on their test scores and they don't even care. I mean, you see the downward spiral that this creates, right? So like every other solution to every other problem, it really all begins with your mindset. If you reframe the situation so that it doesn't depress and discourage you, it's going to be much easier to respond to apathetic students in a positive way. And you're also going to have the energy that you need to create the engaging lessons and carry them out with enthusiasm that draws reluctant students in. Spend some time right now creating a healthy reframing of the situation that you can repeat to yourself when you get discouraged. Your reframing needs to focus on what you can control. Maybe it'll be something like this. You could say, I can go to sleep tonight content that I have done what I can do to help these kids. I work toward my vision of making a difference for them, whether or not they choose to take me up on it. And tomorrow, I will go in the classroom and I will give my all once again, regardless of how much effort they do or don't put forth. I am responsible for only my own actions. So write your reframing, and then whenever you start to get frustrated and you feel like giving up, you can reread it and you can say it aloud to yourself until it just becomes part of your inner dialogue. And you can remind yourself, nope, I refuse to give up based on the response that I got from students. My job is to work toward my vision for teaching every day and to bring my energy and my enthusiasm to the classroom. I'm doing that, and I choose to feel good about it. And you can also use your reframing to brainstorm more ways to reach apathetic students. Though I don't think it's healthy to lay awake at night thinking about kids who are disengaged. At night you really need to just repeat that healthy reframing to yourself and then put everything work-related out of your mind. I do think it's healthy to think about strategies during the day. So instead of blaming or judging the kids for being disengaged or beating yourself up for not being able to reach them, ask yourself, what other strategies can I try to teach my content effectively? And throw all your energy into creating really dynamic, relevant, meaningful lessons for kids. Don't overthink the behavior management piece in the motivational issue. Focus on discovering as many effective ways for kids to learn the content as possible. That's going to benefit all your kids, including the ones who do want to learn. You can't spend 90% of your time worrying about 10% of your class. It's really not fair to the other kids. And it's going to frustrate you because that 10% is probably not where you're going to see a lot of gains and light bulb moments that motivate you to keep going. Stay focused on being a really effective teacher and making your classroom a safe, comfortable, and engaging place for kids to learn. And who knows, over time you might find that a disengaged student can't help but be drawn into the activities. Now don't judge your success as a teacher on whether or not that happens, but stay optimistic that it's never too late. A child can have a breakthrough at any time. We all know kids that we thought were hopeless, and then all of a sudden one day in March or April or May, they could turn a corner all of a sudden out of the blue. You never know what lesson might be the one to get a child engaged. Today could be the day. And also keep in mind that teaching a disengaged, apathetic student is not a waste of time even when it feels like it. I shared back in episode 9, which was how to avoid discouragement in a thankless job. I shared that I was a terrible student. I drove all my teachers nuts. I talked nonstop. I was lazy. I was incredibly irresponsible. Just because I was disinterested in school and I appeared not to be benefiting from my teachers' work doesn't mean that their efforts were wasted. Look at me today. I couldn't be where I am today if it weren't for my teachers. And I'm sure that none of them imagined that I'd be accomplishing the things that I've accomplished. If you only look at the results that you see right now in front of you in the classroom, it's easy to feel like there's no point in trying to motivate kids who just don't want to learn. But remind yourself, I have no way of knowing what the future holds for these kids, and I refuse to stereotype or judge them. I'm going to give my all, and I'm going to trust that my efforts are paying off in ways that I can't see. Start off each day by visualizing yourself being completely in touch with your students' needs and responding to them with just the right words that they need to hear. If you believe in prayer, ask God to give you opportunities to reach these disengaged kids. Ask Him to open your eyes every day to new ways that you can hook their interest or help them tap into their inner motivation. When you start off your day with this sort of mindfulness, you're going to be highly attuned to every opportunity throughout the day, and you'll be ready to seize each one as it comes up. And then at night, you can replay these positive connections that you made, and you feel a sense of accomplishment instead of focusing on all the times when you weren't able to reach kids. So come on over to truthforteachers.com. Let me know in the comments what your struggles are with apathetic students right now. And if you have a question you'd like me to answer here on the podcast, you can ask that while you're on the site. As always, I'll leave you with a motivational quote for the week ahead that I call the takeaway truth. Here's the takeaway truth I want you to remember. The moment you think of giving up, think of the reason why you held on so long. You're doing this work on this day with these kids for a reason. You can do this. And remember, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be worth it. Thanks for listening.